She walked up to me and said, "You know," she said, "I grew up in Lebanon, and as a little child in Lebanon, I used to see cartoons. And then I used to see, straight after that, a Hezbollah commercial. And then I saw Tom and Jerry. You know Tom and Jerry? The cat and the mouse, yeah, they chase each other and it's very funny. And then I saw, a minute after, an Israeli soldier that was kidnapped and he was reading some statements, etc. And you should realize that's how I grew up. I was raised to hate you. In fact, I was in a way raised and educated to want to kill you. And then I grew up, and I listened to some music, and I got to hear a song that you wrote, that you composed. And it was fusing music from my childhood, from Egyptian, Turkish, Lebanese music with other elements. And it made me think, this cannot be that the person that composed this music that drives me so much, makes so much emotion come out of me, can be this bad. It just cannot be. So I want to tell you thank you for making me open-minded. And today, Najla Fakhri, she's not an enemy, she's a fan. She's a fan of the music. When I asked her what does she need, what does she really need for herself in life, she said, all I want is to dance. I'm an artist like yourself. So I invited her to join us on stage. And today, she belly dances with us on stage. In fact, we shared some of the biggest stages in the world in front of 100,000 people with people from dozens of nations. This is enemies singing and dancing together, united by the power of music. But she had a price to pay. Sometimes when you go after your desire, you go after your passion. So she was deprived from coming back to her homeland because she created contact with an Israeli musician. But she never regrets that. And I saw her just a few months back in Paris, where she still resides for almost 2 years now. And she's very happy about her decision and why she followed her passion. I was also a little child back in Israel. My father comes from a family of 10 brothers and sisters. All of them are musicians. They play an instrument or sing or do both. So naturally, I became a technology expert. And working for Microsoft for a decade and then as chief technology officer for other large publicly traded companies. And I realized at a certain point, music was there all the time. I'm playing instruments for almost 30 years. So I realized I want to be a change agent. I want to be the story of Johanna and other people that I cannot tell you and share with you. All those stories now made me understand that this is what I want to do to bring back to the world. And I believe that, like the child I was there, I was very creative as a child, as I'm sure you were as well, because you were children as well, each and every one of us. I really believe that we are all creative people, and there is evidence around the world supporting that. For example, the Bubble Project, that was first attempted in the New York subway and then replicated successfully to many, many other places in different continents around the world. What they did is they assumed, a group of artists assumed that if you put on the subway, on the walls, even in the middle of the street, if you put a bubble, a speech bubble, and you leave it blank with a marker on the side, people will eventually get creative and write their thoughts about it. So there are a lot of examples. I'll just show you a few. That's one from a person coming in the street and writing that. That's the second one. I don't know if you can read this, but it says, I had so much plastic surgery, it hurts. Look, I'm Joan Rivers. So people can get humoristic and very creative, even walking down the street, picking up a marker and just putting their speech bubble on. Like Joanna, like each and every one of us, I believe everything starts with a need. And 2 years back ago, I had a need that really came from my routine as an artist. I play 17 different instruments, mainly string instruments, guitars, traditional folk instruments. But my main 2 instruments that I tend to use during the live shows are either the electric guitar or the bouzouki. It's sort of a mandolin, a traditional Greek, so also Irish flavor mandolin. So in the shows, I was always trying to find ways to switch between those 2 instruments effectively. And I tried so many things I read about in internet, and I Googled things. And eventually I decided I have to build an instrument that combines these two together. So I did my research, and I went to the best luthier guitar builder that was available. And I came to the meeting very excited with my sketches, and he told me it cannot be done. He said it's impossible, and then he addressed to the ex-technology expert in my past. He said they compete on different resources in ways that it cannot be bypassed and overlapped. Sure, there are double neck, three necks guitars in the world, but they don't compete on shared resources. So, but the fact was that he spoke about it for 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, and I thought, if it said one sentence, then maybe I would think there is a point to what he's saying. But he spoke so much that I understood that he was just protecting his paradigms. You know, he was just so good at what he did that he didn't want to probably think beyond. So I went to a piano builder, which knows nothing about guitars, but he knows about acoustics and he knows about wood. And I said, you know, I want to go to the moon. This is my sketch, you know. So he said, sure, I have no idea, but let's go to the moon. And we did it, and it failed. It didn't work. It didn't work. The first model didn't work. We used the wrong woods. It was heavy. All the things that that experts told me were right, and they happened. But we changed the designs. We changed the wood. We changed the electricity, and finally it worked. And I'm very proud to be holding the one and only bouzouki guitar in the world, acoustic and electric at the same time. I'll show you a bit of... This is spruce, this wood here, and so it's also a solid body, full-blown electric guitar, and at the same time it's an acoustic instrument with a lot of resonance. No amplification. This is just directly to the sound card of a computer. This is the bouzouki amplified. Making the arguably not possible into possible, just by shifting your paradigms. And today I use it a lot in the live shows, etc. But what happened more interestingly than that was that I had a need, a specific need, to play these both instruments at the same time. But what I discovered by accident is one time I was connected to the bouzouki and I played the electric. And I got this weird sounds coming out of nowhere. And then I realized that I got something even more than what I wished for or expected. Because these two guitars, they share the same body. The East and the West, they meet. The traditional and the modern, they resonate to each other, and there are sympathetic harmonies going on there. So when you play one, you hear the harmonics on the other one. So I actually created a new sound. This is how a bouzouki sounds when you play the electric guitar. So I actually got to hear a sound that was not existent on Earth acoustically before, that I didn't even plan to find. Wynton Marsalis is a trumpet player and an educator. He said once, invest yourself in everything you do. There's fun in being serious. And it's true. And for me, being serious, I'm a very serious guy. Very serious at what I do. For me, being serious was always about being passionate. It's just another word for saying I'm very passionate about something. And I'm sure that even if you don't consider yourself as maybe passionate people all the time, serious people, you do consider yourself at what you do. And that's exactly the same thing. So my humble advice to you now is find out what you need, what you want. Just get serious about it, and don't forget. You are creative. Thank you.